So today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about how to think. And I please don't skip this. I, the example that I'm going to give is so controversial that I can't pass it up. I'm not going to try to make political points one way or another, but I'm going to help you understand how you should be thinking using that example. So, as I'm talking, yesterday, Donald Trump was indicted on 43 counts, and depending on who you listen to, you see it differently. Depending on the perspective from which you come, you see it differently. There's an old saying, where you stand depends on where you sit. So, if you've been following this channel, you understand how I perceive things, and I'm not going to go into that. Yesterday, I watched the actual, Trump walking into the courthouse. I watched Alvin Bragg talk. I watched Donald Trump's speech later on in the evening. And I'm telling you this because I want you to think about how you process things. Um, you can't change what happens with Trump one way or another. Like, you can't make him be convicted or not convicted, regardless of what you do. Like, you don't have any power over that. But I'm concerned with you, with how you process what you hear and what you see, and where with the sources that you go to and that sort of thing. So if you're a conservative, I want to ask you, did you go to watch MSNBC and CNN last night as you were watching this? Like, okay, I realize other people will be watching this later on, but follow this. If you are naturally conservative and pro-Trump, let's say, did you go to other more liberal sources to hear what they had to say? Because if you don't, you're likely to set up a straw man about how liberals think about this. Same thing, if you're a liberal, did you watch Fox News or other conservative commentary? Or do you even know what the other conservative commentary is, right? So I made a point of watching, not only watching Fox, but CNN, MSNBC, talking to liberals, trying to get their perspectives of things. And that's what you need to be doing. So did you talk, if you're a liberal, did you talk to someone like me? If you're a conservative, did you talk to a liberal? And you need to do this. And you need to do this because it helps you frame and see reality more clearly. And what I mean by that is, like, even if you think you're right, you're probably off in some way, even a minor way, about how the other side thinks about things. And if you talk to them, you get to understand it. I was talking to a professor colleague of mine across the hall. His name is Ben, and we got to talk about this particular subject. And he said something interesting that's useful here. He said, I'm trying to articulate both positions. And then we talked about it for a while. I said, well, this side thinks this side thinks that, and here's how they really want this to go down. Here's how they want this to go down. Here's why they think this, and we went back and forth. And he said, yeah, I think you have a good handle on it. You understand that. Now, I want to have a clear view of where the evidence is, and I'm not saying that I have a neutral position, but I have a well-formed understanding of what's going on. I'm not trying to get you to neutrality. I'm trying to get you to understanding reality as closely as you can, given that you're not going to understand everything perfectly. So what I want you to do is have a solid foundation, and this is not about Trump. This is about any issue that you're interested in. And so if you're on this particular channel, this is a channel where people who care about what's going on in the war in Ukraine, this is where they come for some news and information and perspective about how to understand that. I'm not trying to get you to see Russia's position as equal. No, I have a well-informed view of how things are going in Ukraine, and I'm trying to explain that. But I also listen to voices on the other side to help inform that position so that I understand it. And I'm not asking you to go to RT. That's not my point, because it's a somewhat unreliable source. But do you know anybody on the other side of the equation that you can hear what they have to say to understand that they think this way, even if that way is not correct in your mind? Does that make sense? I mean, what I don't want you to do is seek comfort from your echo chamber. Like, only hear the same thing. And if you hear everybody saying the same thing about a particular subject, even using the same words, that's a sign that you need to get out and expand beyond your echo chamber into other contexts, to hear other perspectives of how something is actually happening. Okay, so what you don't want to do, this is how to think. What you don't want to do is seek to reinforce or validate the position you already hold. Instead, you should be, whatever the support is that you're standing on, you should be trying to kick it over. And if you can kick it over, then something's wrong. If you can't kick it over, then it's probably strong. But you're not trying to reinforce it, you're trying to see if you can dislodge it. And if you can't dislodge it, you're in good shape. If you can dislodge it, then you need to rethink things, right? So that's how you should approach this. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something, and this is, please, and if you do this, put it in the comments below. Yes, I have done this. I'm going to ask you to share this video with someone on the other side, someone that maybe a family member or a friend that is in the, let's say, so if you're pro-Ukraine, someone who is pro-Russia, and then I want you to ask them this. I want you to say, look, I was watching this video. Can you share with me the top 3 most compelling videos or articles or whatever? I will read them. I want to understand your position more. And I will share these 3 with you, right? Now, don't share Tim Snyder's, lecture series. Like keep this, the parameters to like 10 minutes for a video or article or something along those lines. And then actually do it, and then digest, and then try to understand them more clearly. This doesn't mean that you're going to become neutral or pro-Russia or whatever. It doesn't. That's not the point. The point is that you learn and grow and understand reality more clearly. And if you do this, what you're going to find is that it'll sharpen your understanding. It'll help you understand them more, help you understand the world more, and you'll both be better off. It may actually improve a relationship that might be a little strained. That's a side effect that might happen. It may or may not. That's not the point. The point is that you're getting to understand reality more clearly. I would urge you to do that, because this is how you can see more expansively. And if you're just hearing your own side say exactly the same thing with the same words, you're missing something. I promise you're missing something. So try to expand it. When I listen to YouTube vloggers about things in Ukraine, I'm listening to different sources intentionally. I'm listening to Denis Davdov, a Ukrainian, Anna from Ukraine, a Ukrainian. Then I'm expanding it to, say, Georgie from Ukraine Matters, and trying to understand his European view, where he has, a Ukrainian connection in his wife, right? And then I'm also expanding the lens to Vlad to understand a Russian perspective, and Konstantin to understand a Russian perspective, and the Canadian dude or Russian dude to understand that. And then I'm listening to an American perspective and Jake Bro, and so on and so forth, right? I'm trying to listen to these different disparate voices, because I'll pick up different things from different people, but I'm going to go beyond that, and I'm going to try to read sources that are trying to be neutral, objective reports. And then I'll even go, and I'm not asking you to do this, to RT and other Russian sources, which I take with a huge grain of salt, because they very often don't really tell a legitimate, unbiased truth. But even then, when I'm hearing the propaganda, I'm seeing things because I'm hearing the propaganda. Here's what they're saying, and here's what I know from Western reports, and then I'm trying to help that inform my framework. So I'm asking you not to go watch RT, but to listen to views beyond what you already see, and you'll see more, and you'll become a better informed person. And I'm telling you this because you're the kind of person, if you're still watching me, that cares about what's going on in the world. You really do. You wouldn't be spending your time on this right now. You'd be doing something else. And because you care, I want you to have an informed understanding as you care. So thank you in advance if you're willing to do that. If you do share this and get involved in an exchange with someone else, please put that in the comments below. I would love to hear about that. Thank you, and thank you for being the kind of person that does care. I really appreciate it.